Hello and welcome to Pleasure Coma ASMR. Today I have a very old field guide to rocks and minerals, and I will be talking about crystals, mineralogy, and alchemy. When it comes to mineralogy and alchemy, you must bear in mind that the days of the week are in fact named after the Norse gods. If I can take a look at this book over here, you have Tuesday, named after Tyr, ruled by Mars, with the ruling elements being iron. We have Wednesday, or Odin's Day, named after Odin, with the ruling planet being Mercury, or the element Mercury itself. You have Thursday, named after the god Thor, named after Jupiter, or the element 10. Next you have Friday, or Freya's Day, whereas Thursday is Thor's Day, quite obviously. Friday is Freya's Day, which is ruled by Venus, or the element copper. Saturday is ruled by Loki, and it's quite literally Saturn's Day, ruled by the elements lead. Sunday is the sun's day, or soul's dog, with the elements being gold after the sun. And finally, Mani, or the moon's day, is Monday, ruled by the moon, with the silver being the ruling element. Furthermore, it's important to realize the three basic components to alchemy. You have the body, which is governed by salt or sodium chloride. Next, you have the spirit, which is ruled by mercury. And then, thirdly, you have the soul, which is easy to remember because it's ruled by sulfur. It can be said if you have lost your soul or sold your soul, you've lost your purpose in life. So there is a distinction between soul and spirit, although most people would be able to give you a poor definition of what it means. Because mercury is also known as quicksilver, it is liquid at room temperature and subject to change, whereas your soul is something that is more so combustible, very much so akin to sulfur. So that is a basic rundown of the three components of alchemy: your body, salt; soul, sulfur; and spirit, ruled by mercury. Now, when it comes to mineralogy itself, it is important to realize that an element is a pure, atomically correct combination of molecules, whereas a mineral is a combination of elements and will therefore have a chemical equation. There are many minerals and different varieties. For the sake of this video, I have used dolomite, which I believe is calcium carbonate, something like that. Calcium magnesium carbonate, I believe. And we can compare the crystalline structure of other mercury containing minerals to find out the inner workings of both the world and our inner psyche. This is the pursuit of alchemy. You can notice how mercury transforms into cinnabar, into very much something similar to what we have with dolomite. These internal processes also govern our minds as well. Other elements I find interesting are barite, which is barium sulfite, and galena, which is lead sulfite. But for time's sake, there are many different elements to consider here. And the way that these elements coincide together relates to a study known as sacred geometry, studying how the natural tendency for certain numerical, numerological coincidences appear in reality. Most famously, you will hear this referred to as the Fibonacci sequence, but I assure you it gets very complex and involves a lot of chemistry and math work. Other common minerals that you will hear reference to, aside from barite, galena, and dolomite, for an introduction, would perhaps be tourmaline. Tourmaline is a very interesting element because it can glow in the dark. Let's see if I can find tourmaline in here. I know I marked the page. Let me see. There. The tourmaline series has various chemicals in it, or elements, to compose the mineral, such as sodium, iron, boron, aluminum, silicon, oxygen, magnesium, calcium, lithium. The list goes on and on. But very much so, like the ruling elements of the planets for the days of the week, you have other interactions, mainly silicon and carbon. I believe a quartz crystal is silicon oxide, and you will hear this referred to as carbonate and silicate. Other common elements are potassium, magnesium, mercury, sometimes fluoride. You'll hear a lot in sedimentary rocks. It gets pretty complex, I assure you. So, we know for sure this is dolomite, but let's look into something a little more interesting, seeing as cinnabar was also referred to as dragon's blood. Let's do a little research and see what the book has to say on this. Again, I marked the page 181. A very common variation is barite, or barium sulfide. Let's do a little history. It's an interesting fact. Barite is an important commercial mineral. It is widely used as a pigment in the preparation of lithophone and as a filler for paper and cloth. Barite mud is poured into deep oil wells to buoy up the drilling tools. Several hundred years ago, a massive concretionary variety of barite from Italy was found to phosphoresce on light heating and was called bologna stone from its locale of discovery. So phosphoresce means it was able to glow in the dark, very much like tourmaline, which you might be interested in. It was, of course, of great interest to the alchemists, the founders of chemistry, who were trying to make gold from the base metals. Now consider just how certain deities correspond to the ages of mankind, or the Kali Yugas, as it's referred to in New Age circles. For example, the age of copper mainly revolved around the god Jupiter, and it would be Venus or Aphrodite, depending on if you're looking at the Greek or Roman equivalent. And if you combine tin with copper, you get bronze. So very interesting. So more than just a pseudoscience when it comes to mineralogy. There are some very deep spiritual secrets to be found. But if you'd like any more information, feel free to comment. But that is all for now. And you're listening to Pleasure Coma ASMR.